Welcome to Soft Bites Podcast. Your life, your dentistry. We talk about ways to have more fun and meaning in one of the coolest and most rewarding professions in medicine. Conversations on how to bring awareness, create a healthy workplace, and provide emotional insights to make dentistry a fulfilling activity while making space for one's wonder, creativity, and freedom. Here are your hosts, Manuela and George Andre.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Soft Bites podcast. Hello, Andre. How are you?
Hello, Manuela. Nice to see you again.
Yes, we've been a little bit out of synchronicity.
Out of sync.
So
Yes.
Yeah, it's a lot going on. I think it's the month before the holidays, so there's a lot to do and a lot to prepare and a lot of work. I know you've been busy.
Yes.
So
I am.
yeah.
I usually don't. I don't remember having spent. The last time that I had vacation was maybe in April. Yeah, but I've been having constructions in my practice, and there's also some other projects going on. So next vacation will only be like in August or something. But I'm excited, and actually, it has to do with the theme of this podcast of getting things done.
Yes, we are going to talk about getting things done, and you were the one that suggested it, and I think we can speak a little bit about our process of getting things done, because we both have a lot of things going on, a lot of projects, and it's useful, at least for me, it's useful to have a kind of
strategy.
A strategy, yes. I was going to say process, but I think strategy is a more accurate word, in order to be able to not only to keep things going. It's almost, sometimes I feel like I'm juggling a lot of balls in the air, and I have to assess what is asking for my energy. What do I need to focus on? Otherwise, I drop some balls, and sometimes I drop some balls or on purpose, because I feel that it's not something that needs my energy at the moment. So tell me a little bit how you manage your all the different, because it's all dentistry related, but you have a lot of things going on, right? You have your practice, you have your courses, you have your traveling, because you do a lot of courses out of the country. Also, you have Make Me Clear. You have now the podcast that also requires a lot of our time and attention. Is true?
Not really. I didn't see this.
No, but
from the back office, you do most of the work.
No, but that's the secret, I guess, and that's how I manage my things. Is when I don't feel that I'm spending energy, when it's not a sacrifice, a suffering. Then I know that my energy is in the right place. So that is one of my strategy, for example. That's how I know that. How I know that project, it's my energy is being well spent. Is when I don't feel that it demands a lot of me and a lot of energy and suffering. So, but it does. We are here. It's we started at 9:30 p.m. for you, 10:30 p.m. for me. So it requires our time and energy. It's time that we are taking to something else. So, but for me, I have that strategy. If I feel that if I have the good feeling, and I don't have suffering associated to it, and I keep on wanting to do more. And the other day, I already texted you the other day that we record the podcast, and I texted you saying, I have a nice feeling. It was such fun, and I hear music, and it remembers. So when I have that, I know that I'm in the right path, and I know it's worth spending my energy on that. So what is your strategy on your to have the energy, to maintain the energy?
I think that over the years I've been having very different strategies. So where can I start? I think a good place to start is starting in the beginning, which is what do you want to do? What is it that you want to achieve? And this is a question that it's like a cliche, isn't it? I mean, so what do you want to do? What are your goals? Write down our goals, which is something that I do write. I do write my. I have it like organizing like financial goals, health goals, relationship goals, spiritual goals. I have this stuff written down. I do have this stuff. I used to look at it more often, but I edit them like maybe every 6 months, every year.
I do that assessment also twice a year.
I do, and I write and I try to be as specific. I have like main goals and strategies to achieve them. So I think it's a good place to start. But have
you ever done vision boards?
No, I have not.
Because I had a time in my life where I used to do vision boards. I did my goals and I did that and I write them down. I still do. I love journaling. It's what works for me. Put pen on paper. It's still what really works. The way that my mind really get things done. And there was a time that I used to do like a vision board. I used to like
it's like the goals, but instead of words, images.
Yes, so I write the goals, and then I did this exercise of visualization of how the person I would be when that goal was when everything that I wanted was done. How would I feel? Where would I be?
Yeah.
And so I started to put together like these images, and I had this vision boards when I used to work with. It's interesting because I don't do that anymore.
Because you achieve them, most of them.
Well, it's interesting. I achieve those at the time, but I realized that
there are new ones.
No, it's because I work much better writing, and then with the images, and I learned to do the visualization. So I use like a visualization process, especially when it's something like big that I want to prepare myself. So visualization works. I learned this visualization process, and it works good on me. Mm-hmm. So the process of building the vision boards, it had a lot of it was time consuming, and it was something that it didn't came in a natural way because I'm not very good with art. Mm-hmm. But it was not really art, it was just putting images together. But anyway, it works for some people. That's why I was asking you if you ever done it.
No, but I do that. I use mainly words, but looking back, I also have an image. There's an image of a place in one of the goals that I have. Actually, there's an image there. Interesting. But you know what I do? It's very funny. I don't think I ever told this to anyone. But what I do is this: I write down, and I have the title, which is like whether it's like relationships or health, financial. Professional or creative, something like that, and spiritual, something like that, or emotional, something like that. So there's the title, then there's the goals, and then there's the strategies to achieve them. Like, for example, health, it's like, so I'm going to do exams, complete exams every year, like in-depth exams every year, which, for example, in this year I've already done them. And it's very, for example, for health, it's very interesting when we are always afraid of what we are going to find, right? But I realize that if you go deep and you do everything that you're supposed to, it really makes you feel good, because if everything is okay, of course. But that's one of the things. But you know what I do? I read it. I read it loud, and I record that. And sometimes I listen to that.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. 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 Yes.
I never heard that. I never heard that advice from anyone.
Mm-hmm.
Actually,
Mm-hmm.
I just something that so I read it. I just, and so it takes like maybe 10 minutes total to read it. And I read it to myself, and I read it and I record it and I listen to myself. Sometimes maybe like once a month or something when I feel that I need some realignment.
You speak in the future, or you just read your goals?
That's interesting. I speak in the present.
Mm-hmm.
I speak in the present, yeah.
Because I do something, I don't do it anymore, because in the beginning I had this difficulty on doing the visualization exercise.
Mm-hmm.
And because I could not do. I get distracted, and it was like my imagination would not go there. So, and I was working with a coach, an English coach at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, okay, so you record yourself in the future. So you have that, you know what you want. So you record,
nice.
You record yourself in the future. I remember at the time, because I could not, I wanted to start the mind. I was still working full time as a dentist in the practice here in Belgium. But I had this idea of the mindful dentistry project. So the exercise of visualization was to imagine myself speaking in a congress, for dentists about mindfulness, about doing a breathing exercise of mindfulness, for example, in front of a big audience of dentists. And I could not, just with my imagination, I could not. And he said to me, look, you have all the details. You said it to me. Record yourself. So I'm at this, I'm at this, I don't know, at the time where I said congress in the field in Lisboa, and I enter and I see these people, old colleagues of me. So I go and I teach. So I recorded all of this, speaking as it was happening and what I was feeling. And then I had to hear it every day. And so that's how I learned to do my visualization exercises.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah,
but it's in the future. So you speak in the future as it's already happening. That's
the same thing. Yeah, that's what I do. And of course, I think that some of the people listening may think, well, this is just like bullshit. I mean, this is like the law of attraction or everything. I don't look at this at all in any sort of exoteric or magical terms. But even though I do believe in magic, I think that if you are human, you should believe in magic, because otherwise, I mean, you have to believe in magic. I mean, otherwise, it's difficult to.
No, but it gives you a plan of action, basically. To me, that's what it does. It breaks it down in small steps. So basically,
believing in magic makes life much more interesting. But apart from that, I think it's a realignment. It just realigns yourself with what because sometimes you forget, right? If you don't align yourself with what you want, you may eventually be drifting away. So I think it's a realignment, just for you to forget exactly what you want to do. And consciously, if you know what you want to do, your actions will eventually make you closer. And I think that the goal is not necessarily completely reach what you want. It's just to be on the path to what makes you closer to that.
And to prepare yourself also, so that you are prepared to deal with the adversities, because it's bumpy roads.
But the point that I was trying to tell is that, yes, I think that, so you asked me, how do I get things done, right? So I think knowing what you want is very important, right? But knowing what you want does not mean it's going to happen just like that, right? And in the beginning, you have to tackle the opportunities that come to you, right? I mean, it's not like you get out of the college and I just started Make Me Clear and I just started making courses and I just started documenting case and publishing articles and stuff like that. I mean, it's a lot like that, right? So if you have to be flexible with those, right? Yes, you do have a goal, but in the beginning, especially in the beginning, it's not narrow. It's very wide, right? The paths in front of you are extremely wide. So you have to, and there's a very nice quote from Casey Neistat, which is just like what Tarzan did in the jungle, which is jump from tree to tree and to see what is the tree that's getting you closer to your goal. And sometimes that tree that you jump is actually backwards, but then it will place you forwards. So yes, you do need to know what you want to do, or more or less what you want to do. But also, like you said, it's a bumpy road. And in the beginning, it's not exactly as you want. And you just have to experiment things, and you have to place yourself out there, and sometimes doing things that don't seem to be closer to your goal, but just slowly you'll start to get it narrow. So the point is, yes, you do have to write down or in your mind having some intentional goals, but in the beginning it's not narrow, the path. It's very wide, and you have to just keep going and keep digging and keep working. And I mean, it's not like you for example, I wanted to work on aesthetic dentistry, and I did a lot, but I still did in the beginning a lot of root canal treatments and hygienes and stuff that I didn't really like to do. I didn't hate it, but I did it like I loved it anyway, because I knew it was something that was getting me closer to what I wanted. So yes, you do have to know what you want, but you also need to be open, and especially in the early years, you have to place yourself out there. So I think that's the starting point. You have to know more or less what you want, and it can change, and there's nothing wrong with changing. There's nothing wrong with that. And for me, and I look back and the things that even a few weeks ago I received the printing proof of an article of a 3-part article that's going to be published in the International Journal of Aesthetic Dentistry, which is for me, and when I got that, I was feeling to myself, is this still what gives me the most joy in my profession? Because in the beginning, I remember that I opened my practice because of that, because I wanted to publish internationally. And when you publish at a very, very high journal where people don't know you from anywhere, and you just have this small practice in a small city in Portugal, it's a very, very nice feeling. And I was checking that feeling, and it's still the same thing. It is one of the things that gives me the most joy, which is publishing internationally, and I was really, really happy with that. But like I was saying, I couldn't start with that. I mean, that was not my. You don't immediately start to do that. But yeah, I think that slowly you come to realize by experimentation and by sometimes doing things that you don't like to do that much, but slowly you start to get closer to your path. And I think I get lost. You asked me something.
But I wanted to ask you, because you started but you didn't end it. Is it still what motivates you, the publishing of the article?
Yeah, I was so happy with. I was looking. I was, because the article is. It took me about 5 years to develop this idea of. There's some things that I'm very good at. I was talking to myself about that, and there are things that I'm extremely good at. Really, I can be really, really good at some things, really bad at other things. We talked about, which I am improving, but I am very good. I have this capacity, which is, I don't find it very often, which is I can, with time, look at a complex subject full of variables, like, for example, decisions of how do you restore anterior teeth or decisions how you restore posterior teeth. And I have written something about clinical decisions of how to restore anterior teeth. I wrote that in 2012 at the Journal of Aesthetic and Restorative Dentistry, which was a very big thing for me. And I did the same this year. Me and many other people that contributed to the article, we did the same thing for posterior teeth. And it was a big task because over the last 5 years, I have been developing that. And it's curious because posterior teeth were not something that I really like. I didn't like that much. It's not very appealing to me. But because the task of talking about posterior teeth was mine in the course that we give, I started to think a lot about that. And I sat down and I thought a lot about that. I kept improving the presentation and also from students' feedback. And I thought and I said, well, I think that I have more or less cracked the code. What's the thought behind this? And like I was saying, there's something I'm very good, which is looking at complex stuff, nailing it down and thinking about it and finding some things that make the understanding of the decisions easier and present that in a way that is clinically easy to understand. I am very good at that. I am extremely good at that. I do that way, way better than I prepare teeth or than I do surgery or whatever. I do that way, way better. And that's something that I am very good at. And I am very aware of that. I am very aware that is one of the things that I do the better. So I prioritize that. In my life. And this article, I've been thinking about this for over the last 5 years. And over the last 3 years, I've been actively writing it down. For you to see, it started with a single article, then it became 2, and it's now a 3-part article. And to have a 3-part article published in one of the best aesthetic dentistry journals, it's very difficult. It's very, very difficult because you really have to have a message that makes sense to dare yourself to occupy 3 consecutive numbers of a journal to talk about a subject. But I never had any doubt. It's very interesting. I never had any doubt that I would publish internationally. It's not like, I know I'm a very good / excellent clinician, but I never trusted my clinical skills as much as I blindly trust my capacity of understanding complex subjects and presenting them in a easy way. So I am extremely aware of that. It's not something that I just feel that is what I am best of. And that has to do with what we are talking about, which is that has been prioritized over the last 3 years. I don't think there was any week which I have not worked on that, whether in planes, sometimes traveling, on vacation when I go alone, after dinner, sometimes before bed. I know it's not the best way, but I've worked on that article relentlessly over the last 3 years. And because I know that I have this awareness that is where I thrive the most. There are some other things that I am not bad. My communication skills are way above the average, but there's nothing in me that beats me in the capacity that I have to organize the thought process. And I prioritize that because I know that, and I have this. I know that in looking back from my professional life, and we are talking, of course, professional. Looking back of my professional life, I know these will be landmarks in my. Not exactly in terms of the impact of it has on other people, which of course it has, but more like I didn't waste my time. I didn't hesitate when I needed to express myself or when I realized that what I needed to say was unique and helpful and powerful. So I think, and I have no doubt about that regarding publications and writing things down. I have no doubt about that. So I prioritize that in my life, in my professional life. I prioritize that, and I don't let that. I don't like unfinished stuff, and while I was working on that. I was not focused on any other similar project. I mean, we did soft bites, I did events, I did congresses and courses and stuff, but I didn't write any other article while I was working on that because I didn't want anything else. Like you were saying, multitasking. Of course, that sometimes you have emails and you have other projects. But I don't mix the writing of two different articles at the same time. I want to finish one, and I think that's also one of the strategies that I have to get things done.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. You have to focus. You have to know where you need to focus your attention and your energy.
Yeah.
Right.
This is a strategy. I'm sure we'll talk about tactics like small things, but the main strategy for me is to avoid multitasking different tasks of the same level, let's say.
And also, I think that we already mentioned, first of all, to know your goals, to know really what you want to do and where you want to focus your energy on. But I think what you also said, it can also translate to know what you are good at. So
yes,
know your strong points. If you know your strong points and if you know what you are less good at, then you can really work more on your strong points, because those strong points will be the things that will give you the most, that you were strive from, right? So it's the things that you will have fun doing it, because you know that you are good at it, and you know that it's the things that and you said it so in such a beautiful way. You said, I never had any doubt, I felt it.
Exactly.
So
yes.
If you work on those things, so to know your strong points, to know what way you are good at, if you really work on that and if you align your goals with that, then you have this really winning formula. And I think that's what you do, and that allow you to get that connection with yourself, to know deep in your side, in yourself, that this is going to work. I'm going to get this done because I know that this is going to get done.
It's a good question. Okay, when did I find that out?
Because you are aligning two things, right?
Yes, but when did I find that? It's difficult to realize when I find that out. But maybe in high school, I had some clues there. But I think that it also came a lot from work and from I think that I read a lot. I in the beginning of my career, I would read like big biblical books of dentistry, like Linda's Periodontology or Dawson's or Pascal Magnes or Mauro Fradian's. I read those books like romances, and then doing the master, it gave me an in-depth knowledge of how the best in this field thought and expressed themselves. So I have an in-depth knowledge of that. So yes, in one way it's a gut feeling, but it also comes from the background of a lot of work. That's why it's important at the beginning to not only do what you love, but to grind and to work and to be curious and to try to know the best, that you try to know the most in your field. So I think it was a mix of gut feeling and also hard work, and then it gives you that because I think that the fact that I knew so well what the best were doing. I knew so well. I've read it in depth. I read the articles. I read the books. Yeah, I think it gave me the confidence to say, look, no, I can do similar, or if not better than this. I think that was that. It was I think it's something that gets born with you, but also you have to align that with hard work. And I was even thinking about something that has nothing to do with that, which is I love music and I love video edition, and and even today I was talking with one of my dental assistants. She has a design degree and she's doing a lot of the edition of my videos. And I was looking at her and we were both fighting about what should be the best strategy and stuff like that. I mean, this is art. This is pure art. There's no right or wrong, right? It's not like science that someone expresses this better. It's purely art. It's like DJing or video edition. And I also have that feeling that I think this would work better this way. These transitions and this rhythm and these effects here, and sometimes I do feel that this works better this way. So I also trust my taste, and yes, I do. But that doesn't come. Maybe it comes from listening to a lot of music as well.
Do you see yourself as an opinion maker?
What
if you see yourself?
An opinion maker is like that creates trends.
Trendsetter, yeah.
In dentistry, yes. Outside of dentistry, no. But in dentistry, yes. In dentistry, yes. I have. I think I have an in-depth knowledge of my field and of the things that have been happening and the ways that restorative dentistry has evolved and the trends and everything. Then in my field, I have no issue with that. Yeah, but coming back to the theme, I think that this confidence comes from intuition / background of hard work, of being curious, of reading books.
Yeah, I think you said a very good word there, curiosity. I think you're a very curious person and you always trying to look and find new things. And I think that comes from, a lot of that comes from that also.
Yeah, but this is mainly strategy, so writing down what you want. I think this is mainly strategy, right? And so that things get closer to what you want. But if you want to talk about tactics, I think I've developed a lot of very good tactics over the last years, and I think that I don't want to sound too boring or like an old guy talking, but I think that it's all about it's all about what our moms tell us, right? Go early to bed. Don't party too much.
It all goes to that, right?
It's nowadays. Funny, isn't it? I mean, it's like the best hack in the world. There's only one. I like this sentence, which is there's only one life hack: go early to bed.
Yeah.
But it's not only that.
It's a good strategy is to have a good sleep routine, a good night routine to prepare yourself before going to bed, to have always the hour to go to bed, and before half an hour before start dimming the lights, disconnect your phone. So that will really have an impact on your energy on the rest on the next day.
Yeah, I think that the goal of eating well, doing exercise, and sleeping well is for you to be able to get yourself organized. And meditation, of course, getting yourself organized mentally. And by organized, I mean, okay, you work when you need to work, you stop when you need to stop, you don't forget about stuff, you don't leave unfinished things behind. And for that, you need to be organized. And one of the things for me, the main tactic is email. I use a lot of email, for example. So I use email and I use Google Tasks. So basically, whenever I am, and I have the Google Tasks app in my desktop, which is incorporated in Gmail, and I use the Google Tasks in my phone. So if I remember something, I just go to my phone and place it on the tasks. And at the end of the day or in the beginning of the day, I'm always both using my email and Google Tasks. So if I leave my practice early and I forgot to write something or send an email to the lab, I just go to Google Tasks, just place the name of the patient, send the communication to the lab. So I use a lot of Google Tasks. It's like a reminder. It's just like a task manager, and I use a lot of that. And without that, I will be completely screwed because there's so much things going on at the same time. So I use a lot of, and even the emails. If I want to, if I get an email, if I want to get back that email, if I don't have time, I just click and just add that to the Google Tasks. And the Google Tasks has different tabs. There's the My Tasks, the Urgents, and there's, for example, classes, management class. And even, for example, I'm on Instagram and I see something I like. Well, that would be interesting to talk in the next course with Manuela. So I just copy the link and I insert that in the tab of the class of management. And when I'm going to do the reviewing of the class in the next course, I'm just going to go there and just take a look at it and see if it still makes sense to place it in the class. So I am very organized in that way. I think that I have a good
organization system.
Yeah. Using Google Tasks, I think it's very interesting. I think it's something that I would advise anyone because I think it makes sense.
We already said that productivity, you need to be very aware of your goals, write it down. For you to, when you do that, what that will allow you is for you to break your goals in smaller actions, but really break it down to really small steps. And you said it now, get a good system, have a good system in place, find what works for you. I also work a lot with Gmail, with Google Tasks. I'm discovering, someone told me about Notion, and I'm discovering a little bit of Notion, but I'm still not, still don't have a very formed opinion about it. But I also have like this boards where I have everything. Also, when I have something, for example, for us, for the soft bites, I go to that board and I know, and I write it down there. So have a system, have a good system in place where you can write everything down. Because sometimes I think the problem is that people have a lot of things in their mind and they want to achieve a lot, but they don't get to the part of getting things done because it does not get out of their mind, and it goes around and around and around, and it does not go out of their mind. For me, I already told this, what works is to put everything in writing. So it starts like that. It starts like a big dream. So like I use the example back when I was still working in dentistry, I don't know, 2016, when I started to have these dreams of doing what I'm doing now. I just started, okay, just where do you want to be like in 10 years? And I'm still not there, but I'm almost there. But I had to break it down into small steps because I could not, even if I wanted, at that time in 2016, I could not speak before dentists. I didn't have the skills, I didn't have the knowledge, I didn't have anything. I didn't have anything. So it's like breaking it down in small steps. And for me, it works to put everything in written and have a good system to not lose time. Yes.
What you said is, I think it's very important, which is to get it from your head into a place that is accessible in the future and organized. And for me, I think this is key. And if you don't have that habit, you need to develop that, because I don't see any other way, unless you have a personal assistant, unless you write down everything. But you have to have a system where something gets out of your mind in the middle of the street or in the middle of, or in an elevator, and you just remember that and write that down. Or if you see something that it's inspiring, it's a new insight, you have to write that down, and it's accessible for when it's about to be useful. For example, I'm remembering myself of something that I do very often, which is we have meetings, we have staff meetings every 3 months with all the staff, doctors and nurses. And whenever whenever I remind myself of something that I should be talking about in that meeting, I just go to the Google Tasks, to the tab of meeting or a clinic. I just place it down. So if I go to the meeting, even if I didn't prepare it that much, I just go like 5 minutes before, and I know I have to talk about this, and that. And I just sometimes I use links to the whatever
because
it
it
is. Or
saves you a lot of time if you
Yes.
have a good system in place in order for you to be able. I also sometimes I just if I don't have the time, if I have a more busy week, I schedule a slot of time, and it doesn't take much time. It takes like 20 minutes just to do like what I call a brain dump, just to get everything that I have that I know that it needs to be done, and put it into paper. Otherwise, I know that during that week, because I'm going to need to be focused because I have a lot of work during the week. If I do not have, because from the moment I do that and then I break it down in small tasks, and those tasks go into my calendar, into my Google Calendar to what to do.
Of course, that's another thing. That's a big one.
Yeah, and then it's like I do a check in my brain, and then I do that during the week. I will not be worried about that because it's already scheduled, it's already arranged for me to take action on that. And it's things that really need to be sure that these things will get done.
Yeah, I think that the calendar is a big one. It's a really big one, especially with events and traveling and stuff. I have my Google Calendar, and I share them with my nurses regularly, so that they can see that we are synchronized. That they need to close my agenda in certain days, and I give them in advance. I have courses booked for the next year already. I try to work in advance as much as possible. I decide my vacations way in advance. I like to take a lot of vacation, and I decide that well in advance. So I think that's a very big one, Manuel, what you said, the calendar. So Gmail, Google Tasks, and calendar are a big part of the tactic.
What I realized at a certain moment, and this was around maybe 3 years ago that I already work with this system, is that it was not enough for me to have a to-do list. Everything changed from the moment that I put that to-do list into my Google Calendar, and this goes to the basic stuff. For example, we have our course in Sagres in October, 5, 6, and 7 October. So I know that 1 month before, it's already in my calendar when I have to send the emails. 1 week before, the workbooks have to be printed. With last edition, we did the printed workbooks. So now it's already on my. So it's actions that are in my. It's not only the course that it's there in October. It's all the actions that I have to do for everything to be ready on the 5th of October when we get there. So basically, what I learned to do was to transform this to-do list into actions and immediately to put them on the calendar. And that it made all the difference, because of course, just by doing the to-do list and just by journaling, you get a lot of things already. You solved a lot of things that are already just on your mind, and just by writing them, it's like you see really what is your goal and what you can do. But going the next step to really break it down into small things that can go into your calendar, and that that day is just an email that you have to send. So for me to get there, this day I have to send an email, this day I have to do this. So it makes things so much easier. And for me, it makes me safe. But I made this commitment with me. that day, that is in my calendar, I have to do
Yeah.
it. So,
and it's I think it's really, this seems like very boring stuff, but it's really without it you just can't work.
it makes it makes a
It makes
difference
a lot.
between getting things done or
Yeah,
just
yeah. And you know
or
that
not.
table of urgent, not urgent, important, not important. It's very interesting. So, and I think that these statics, because the things that you need to do, they have different levels of importance. So, for example, okay, so I am writing my next article, right? It's very important, but it's not urgent, right? But then I also need to send an email to the lab, which I didn't do today because I got out of the practice earlier because I wanted to watch the sunset. And that is not important, not very important, but it's urgent. So the way that you deal with those things are very different. Let me give you an example. So my article or the book that I wish to write in the future, it's very important, but it's not urgent. And the email that needs to be sent to the lab, it's not very important, but it's urgent because the patient is waiting. It's not very important in the grand scheme of things because it's just like a daily activity. So what are the two very different strategies that I deal with that? So for the email that needs to be sent to the lab, it's on the tasks that I need to take care of that over the next couple of days. Let me give you another example. Let's say, for example, I placed an implant today, okay, and the patient is booked for suture removal in 10 days, and is booked again in 3 months or 4 months for, let's say, placing provisionals or doing final impressions. Today, in the day that I placed the implants, I sent an email to my dental nurses saying that please book the patient. I'll tell them, and then I also, sometimes if the patient is in a hurry and because he's gonna come anyway to do the suture removal in 15 days, and we need to book it already for the next months. And I email my dental nurses saying, look, I want you to book the patient in 6 months, but 2 weeks before, place a reminder on the schedule to see the material. Why? Because in that appointment, I want to make sure that I have all the components packed and organized for that patient, because otherwise it's difficult to happen. And the system that I use is that I only use the materials that I use for the specific patient. I don't pile up a lot of stock. So it's one of them I use a lot of email. And email is something that, like we both say, it leaves evidence, not like WhatsApp. Email leaves evidence and it's searchable. So my dental nurse, they take email extremely serious, because if there's an email to do something that is really something that needs to be done, otherwise something will fail and the patient will come in and you don't have anything ready. So we talked about what is not that much important, but urgent. Now let's talk about the book or the article or the big project or the course or I don't know, something big that you are thinking about writing or creating, some big project or just creating a course. I don't know. So that's something important, but not very urgent. I think that the trick to that is to work on that on a daily basis. Small steps, little by little, which is what I use. If I'm writing an article, I go and check it every day. Even if it's like one sentence, because I think that small steps add up in the long term and it gets you connected with that. Maybe not exactly every day, but at least every week, because you want to be connected with that main goal that you have in your life, which is something that is really important, not very urgent, but it's really important. So my tactic is to be close to that on a daily basis or on a weekly basis. And I think it makes a lot of sense. So you see that those are very different tactics, but I think I think that
I liked your approach. It's like you want to stay connected with the energy of it,
yes.
right?
I don't want to forget, because that is an expression of my own being, and that is something very, very important to me. That is an expression of my own being, and I think that going to that regularly keeps me in check, and I think it's a very good strategy. And it's not also about that. It's about the consistency, the thing of doing something. Showing up, exactly. It's like what Stephen Pressfield says it's not difficult to write. The difficult thing is to sit down in front of the computer, isn't it? And I am a firm believer of that. I don't think that talent, I believe a lot in hard work, and I believe a lot in consistency. And this is, if you get, it's like, there's something that also says that, like, the man that enjoys walking will go much further than the man that enjoys the destination. I mean, if you like the process of doing that, which is actually the most important thing, is like the person that you become doing that, because I think it's a big developer of character. I mean, just while everybody's maybe worried about posting stuff on Instagram and Facebook and whatever, over the last 3 years, I've been mainly focused on writing something that I knew would make me proud of myself, and that's an accomplishment. That is an accomplishment for myself that really makes me proud of myself. It's not only about the end goal that people like it or don't like it, but it's just like, I want to make beautiful things, even if no one cares, and that was something beautiful that I did. And it was difficult. It was hard, but I really enjoyed the process. And sometimes, that sometimes when you're writing something, you get stuck and you need to come back tomorrow and then tomorrow and then tomorrow. It's just that consistency of coming over and over and over that really beats the competition, if you know what, because most people, they are not willing to go through that unsexy process of just showing up and realizing that some days are good, some days are bad, and it really is not a very sexy process, But I think it's a great character developer. It's a great lesson of humility that you really need to keep showing up and keep doing the things. I really believe in that. I think that the long-term projects, the important stuff that you want to do, you need to work on that on a very frequent basis, and just showing up on the days that you feel like, and not showing up, and showing up even on the days that you don't feel like. Now, I have to admit that today we get a lot of distractions from social media. I mean, I check my social media at least maybe 10 times a day, which is something, and we all do, let's be honest.
We all do,
right? Because and one of the things that I get a lot of communications through Instagram. I mean, people talk to me about it, and it's like a working tool. But it's not only a working tool. I mean, the algorithm is so well done, it just gets you hooked. It just gets you hooked. Because even for something like, what was the thing? I was watching Rab the Patient. I was talking to someone about something that my phone heard, and I just my feed was filled up with some sneakers, some tennis, and it just grabs you by the balls, it's like it knows what you are thinking. It's really disruptive for your attention, and I think it has never been hard for me as it is now to keep my focus. And I think
too much distractions, you think?
Yeah. Even but I don't think that we should look it as a demon. For example, for my dental nurses, I knew that they used their personal cell phone a lot on the reception. And I told them, look, I'm not going to prohibit you because I don't think it makes sense. I just want you to realize if someone gets in to talk to you, just try to be responsible. Because I think that prohibiting the usage of the personal cell phone in the workplace, I don't think it's possible today. Unless that you are, I'm not with a personal cell phone treating patients, but if you are not in if you are like a receptionist, and if no one is there, of course you're going to check your phone. Come on. Let's be honest here. And So what I'm trying to say is that there are much more challenges today. It's much more difficult because it has been normalized. The distractions have been normalized, and you have to be strong about that.
Mm-hmm. Can I say something, because I think that's what you are also trying to say, and I really wanted to make this clear about multitasking, because what you are saying is that you are able to have your productivity going on, because not only you have a system in place, and you write down your goals and you break it down in small actions, but also because you keep showing up, you keep to being truthful to what really motivates you, and to creating, and to be truthful to yourself. But in order to do that, that is achieved by you being to directing your energy and shifting your energy towards one and another. So what you do basically is not multitasking, because I think that people confuse what you are doing, or when some of us has multiple projects, they confuse that with multitasking, and that's not what's going on. And I want really to make this clear, because this is very important. This is not multitasking. This is you being aware of what you need to do, and where, in different situations and in different day, being your calendar very strict with anticipation, with good planning, and really when you are doing something, your energy and your focus is there. And also you rest between the process. We already talked about that, the importance that you give also, and that's so important to really rest and to have time to disconnect, and to have that time for you to shift your focus and attention to another thing.
I completely agree with you.
So what you are saying about social media, is that when you are focused on something, nowadays it's more difficult, because social media takes your attention out of it, right? So I think that's what you were saying. It's harder because social media is always there. It's like you said, and it has a lot of layers. Social media nowadays, it's not so simple as enter on Instagram, like you said. It's like, it's listen to us. It gives you what you want, what you need to hear. So
it just grabs you by the balls, But I couldn't. Thank you for that. I couldn't have said it better, because it's exactly what you're saying.
Because it's different from multitasking, and sometimes I think that people confuse this with multitasking, and this is not multitasking.
What you can't be doing, I cannot be writing my article and sending emails at the same time. That's not possible.
That's not. You cannot be on your practice and thinking about the course that you have to.
Exactly. You have to be able to enter different modes throughout the day. This is why I love the notion of avoiding gray areas in terms of what you are doing. You are on vacation, but look, even if on vacation, I can have a couple of hours in the day working.
That's it.
But
that's it.
Work there. And then there's vacation. And then there's working on the article for the next hour. It doesn't mean I'm not gonna go to Instagram if I get fed up, like for a minute or so. But that hour is mainly for the article, or that half an hour is mainly for the emails, like email time. And I love the idea of avoiding gray areas. Either it's this or it's that, But like I was saying, I love the notion of consistency, of piling up small efforts in order to write down the book. To write the book, it's not about the big idea. It's about showing up every single day and writing a sentence. And what you can achieve by doing that is far, far greater than someone that has big projects and then does not go to them with consistency. So I think it really is important.
Okay, so I had two more points here for us to talk about. Actually, I had three, but I think that one we already covered in one episode about perfection. That of course, if you want to get things done, don't focus on perfection. Just focus on doing, on making a clear action plan that you can really make sure that you are comfortable on doing, that it's not overwhelming for you. Because if you are looking for perfection, sometimes it's just an excuse for not getting things done.
Yeah.
So it's like the enemy of progress.
Yeah.
But there's two more points that I really want us to talk about, because it's almost 1 hour of us talking. Closing cycles and
Yes, that's a good one. That's a very good one.
letting go. So
that's a good one.
we get things done, right? We get things done. We have a system in place. We don't multitask. We show up. We have consistency,
and then you release that.
Yeah, and this is a very Buddhist notion, the notion of letting go. So it's not only closing the cycle; it's also to let it go.
I was on vacation in the south of Portugal, and I think that I messaged you like, look, listen to this podcast. It was with Tim Ferriss and Derek Sivers. Derek Sivers is a very interesting character, and he has this very free spirit, and he has this very free mind, and he talks about something that he loves, the concept of releasing. It's like you release an album, you release a book. I mean, you let go. You let go because you have to let go in order to be able to focus on some other stuff. And this thing of closing cycles, of finishing this layer, going to another layer, I think it's very interesting. It's for example, even when I finished writing this article that I talked in the beginning, maybe about 1 year ago, and then edition back and forth, and then I get the printing proof. When I look at that, I'm like, well, my head is completely elsewhere. When this is published, when this is released to the public, my head will not be on posterior teeth any longer. So it's very interesting that when that reaches the audience, my head will be elsewhere. But it needs to be. It needs to be, because otherwise you can't progress. So I really like this notion of releasing and doing something and closing that cycle, and doing something over again and closing that cycle.
It has a lot to do with, because this, I think it really gives the end to what you were saying before. It's all about the journey. It's all about me not showing up and to know the reason why I'm doing this, and to really do the work that inspires me. So from the moment that
it can also change. It comes in cycles, right?
But from the moment that is done, then you let it go. You release it, like it's not yours anymore. It's not yours anymore.
That is the big idea behind the festival Burning Man. You burn your creativity.
You talk about that on our course and
the notion that you go to Burning Man and you give something of yourself, whether it's.
Did you ever went?
No. I'm planning to go this year.
Yes. Okay.
Yes. But I love the idea of course, that partying and stuff and being in the middle of that. It's always funny, but I love the idea of burning your creation, burning yourself, of letting parts of yourself die so that you can rise in a different format. And I love that. And I love that you get away from your creativity, getting away from your creation, which is basically getting away from your ego, isn't it? And this is what Burning Man is all about. It's like you provide something, and then you burn what you create so that you can move on, and that you don't get attached to what you have achieved. There's one thing about this Brazilian guy. His name was Fernando something. He's a very well accomplished entrepreneur, like a multi-millionaire. And he said something which is, when my kids were born and they started to walk around, I went to my living room and I got rid of all my prizes, certificates, and trophies. I got rid of all that. because I don't want them to look at me as something that could be defined by that, and neither did I want to define myself of that, which is be completely unattached to what you were in the past and what you have achieved, because I think that in a sense it prevents you, it limits your future happiness, and I do believe in that. I do believe that if I get too much attached to what I have achieved in the past, I get less agile to work on my future. And I do believe in that. And I think that you have to detach yourself from your achievements. And yeah, that's the main idea. And the idea of getting things done and turning the page, I think it's very important so that you can, it's almost like you rebirth and you live a different life. And I love the idea of mutation and change and improving. And I think it's a very important idea because it gives you that fresh feeling of when you were a kid, that anything is possible and tomorrow I can be a different person, right? And I think that today sometimes we are too much focused. Oh, I behave in a certain way. This is the way that people know me, and I have to behave that way always. I think that limits your creativity a lot, and I think that you can always become a different version, a better version, hopefully, of the things that you are doing, either as a dentist or whatever. So yeah, I do love that idea of closing cycles and doing some different things. And I do believe that. I do believe it's a very important concept that you need to be aware in whatever you do. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the concept of letting go also, I think
Exactly.
You should also, for the ones that are listening that don't quite get it, how you can use this concept on your daily life.
I'm just reminding. So go on. I'm just reminding something that's very interesting.
No, I'm just saying that is that simple as having, just like you said, having fun, making an intention to have fun in what you do, and
you have to. Fun comes also a lot from unpredictability and from newer stuff, right?
Yeah, but so I don't want fun to be interpreted as in a light way. I mean, of course, it's work, and you have to work, and you have to put yourself with hard work. Otherwise, nothing gets done. But also in order for you to access the creativity, in order for you to go the extra mile, the fun that I mean is every day to try to activate your curiosity and to
change.
Yeah, and then to be really to have in mind that it's not for you, it's for others, that you are participating in a greater good and changing something.
And hopefully becoming a better person for others. Yeah, and becoming more tolerant, becoming more efficient, more loving, more caring. I think that's always a good direction towards to progress. I was reminding myself of something that is very masculine, and as you know, I love this idea of masculinity and feminine, regardless of sex, because I think, and it's something that it's very very masculine, which is. We have the tendency to get ourselves too attached to, so we, if especially in relationships between men and women, I think it happens this scenario quite a lot. So I did something that was, I've been consistently doing something effectively for the couple, right? But if I don't do it once, for the woman, it doesn't matter how many times I've been efficiently doing that in the past, because if I don't do it, I mean, my track record means nothing. If you, do you understand? If you are not efficient now, this is why it's so important to let go. Oh, because I've done that every time for the last I don't know, days or weeks or years. If I don't do it now, it means nothing for the other person.
But are you
So
talking about like what? Washing the dishes? You always
washing the
wash the
dishes,
dishes, and there's one day
washing
that you
the
don't wash
dishes,
the dishes, and
or
then
or
it's an argument.
something like that. Those typical things between couples. I find that very interesting because from a male perspective, oh, come on, I've been doing this every time. It's like the track record means nothing if you haven't done it today. It's just the same thing as if you have never done that. And this reminds me of the idea that you really always need to be present. What you have achieved in the past means nothing. You have to keep being present and keep changing and keep curious on a daily basis.
Mm-hmm.
And for men, it's just like, okay, I've achieved this. Okay, I can rest on this, but you can't. You really can't. And I think that's I just got reminded of that, because I think that we often tend to believe that, okay, I've achieved that in the past. So even professionally, I've achieved that, and I just can eventually not be so much worried about what I'm going to do now. But you
Mm-hmm.
need to reinvent yourself on a daily basis. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And looking back from my professional life, I've changed a lot over the last 3 to 4 years in terms of leadership style. I've changed a lot, and see, in some ways dramatically. And I think it's good. I don't think you should be stuck to the notion of what you believe that you are.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes, that's it. And I think that those changes that we have, we, at least for me, I'm not able to see them at the moment. But
Yes.
after I look back and I understand, and for me, it's very important to really. It has to do with closing cycles, with really because, and this is my last question for you. Um, you talked about, and you use this word right now, reinvent
Yeah.
yourself, and you believe that, and and it's something that you try to achieve. But
Yes.
in order to reinvent that, and to have that change, it means that something has
To
to
die.
to die. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it. How you do that? Because that's for me, sometimes it takes time for that. It really takes, and it was like I was saying, when you go through the process, you're not aware, but then you look back, and you see, I'm not this person anymore. So
Mhm.
who am I now? What do I want? I have to go through that in order to continue. How is it for you? How you do those closing cycles?
Well,
How do you reinvent yourself? What do you do with the part that dies?
it's not always a happy process.
That's it. That's
I
it.
don't think it's always a
Mm-hmm.
happy process. I think sometimes there's pain involved in that.
Mm-hmm.
I think that there's
Yes.
lessons, there's pain. I went through a difficult moment in my life at about 1 or 2 years ago, when I had a lot of changes in my practice, construction work and stuff like that. I mean, there was a lot of changes going on at the same time. Actually, I think it was more or less after we started the podcast, which helped me a lot, of course. But there was pain involved. There was a lot of, my ego was bruised a lot, and but I think those are some of the richest moments. When you look back, it's easy to understand how rich and how important those sorts of moments were. But I think that when you are in those moments, it's difficult. But I think that with time and with age, you get to understand that if you, I saw this quote, I don't know from who it is, but it's something like this. If you live long enough, you realize there's always a defeat after each victory. There's always. Each victory will be followed by a defeat. And that defeat is richer, and it's a much it's a much better opportunity to grow than the victory, because in the victory is where when you do most of the mistakes, when you are eluded, when you believe that you can achieve everything, that when you believe that you are the best. This is, I think, that when you do a lot of mistakes, when you are struggling, whether it's financially, whether personally, health-wise, I think those are some of the richest moments in your life. And it's easy to say that when you are not going through there. But I think if you have this notion that struggle is a good thing, I think it will help you. It will help you pass through these moments. And I think that you should also implement that on a daily basis, whether it is through physical activity, whether it is to sometimes forcing yourself to do tasks that you know that you don't want, but you know that you need to do it. And it is a balance. It's not easy. No one has the formula, right? So you have to rest, but you also have to work. You have to work out. You have to sleep, and it's a very difficult balance to achieve. But I think that unhappy moments or struggling moments are very rich moments, and it's difficult to understand them when you are going through them. It's very difficult, but you will always come up a different person, usually a better version of yourself. But I think it's very important to keep what helped me a lot. What always helps me a lot during those hard times always is the company of people around me. Relationships, friends, or closer relationships, that's very important. But the things that I do to myself are also critical, like meditation, physical exercise, nutrition, and sleep. I mean, you really have to get the courage to not let yourself go down and just keep moving, keep showing up, keep doing the exercises, just keep surfing, keep sleeping well, keep eating well. And really take care of your body and your mind. And meditation helped me a lot, and it still helps me a lot. So when you are going through a difficult period, I know it's difficult to sit down and meditate. I know it's difficult to get up early and do the exercise. I know it's difficult. Sometimes you don't want to be with anyone. It's difficult to force yourself to stay with friends, but you have to do these sorts of things. And I think that the person that comes out on the other side is a much stronger person, so that when the next defeat comes, because it will come, because that's the thing, it will come sooner or later. It will come, whether it's in relationships, whether it's in the profession, whether it is whatever, or health. It will come sooner or later. So I think that you will be more prepared to deal with that, and to understand that you just have to hold on, because things will pass and you'll come out on the other side a better version of it, a newer version of yourself, which is stronger, more patient, more tolerant, and more loving. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. There's this theory that says that you should do at least one difficult thing a day. That you should build that resistance.
Cold shower is one thing, for example. Mm-hmm. Cold shower is a very interesting thing. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I
because they said because nowadays we are so comfortable, right, in our livings, in our nests, in our hot nests. And
you know, one thing that we also are, we have a lot of theory and we have a lot of knowledge, but we don't act on it. Mm-hmm. I mean, you know all the codes, all the motivation stuff, but then you don't act on it. I mean, just doing the things that you know are boring, just doing them like you love to do them. I think it's because if struggle is what makes life. Struggle is the contrast that makes the other part of life beautiful, isn't it? So if you don't have struggle, you can't even enjoy the other stuff. I mean, you have to be able to have that contrast to be able to redeem yourself and restrain yourself from excessive partying, excessive alcohol, excessive fun, because otherwise, if you are always partying all the time, I mean, you'll never have fun, because you don't know what it is to be on the other side of the spectrum, right? So I think that all the struggles, that everything that will teach you how to be a witness of what the things that are going on, like meditation, and that will teach you how to let go of the things that are not out of your control, or of the wrong things that you've done in the past. I think those are beautiful teachers, and you have to embrace them. Yeah. And it's an ongoing process. It's never ending, isn't it? It's always going to come. It's always going to come. You may eventually learn to dance a little bit more, but it will come sooner or later. Yeah. And if you are physically and emotionally more prepared, it will be easier. But I am a firm believer that taking care of your body and your health, I think it's like, I mean, if you go to a psychologist, if you are not sleeping, you have to sleep. If you are not well with good nutrition, you have to eat well. It's like, okay, so you are in a depressive mode. So go exercise. If you exercise for a couple of weeks on a daily basis, you will see that things will improve dramatically. So I think that you have to really be able to find motivation to do the stuff that seems boring and hard, because I think that it will help you a lot to get through lots of issues. Yeah.
And it's sometimes, and we talk a lot about this because we practice it ourselves, but it's so weird to see in the society that we nowadays live, to be so against. It's not against, but it's like you are tired, but you do everything but rest. So if you are tired, that's what you have to do. You have to rest.
Yeah.
And I'm reading the book of Gabor Mate. He's been going in a lot of podcasts, and he talks a lot about that, about how we in this society nowadays totally go against our body. And it's like we are living in this artificial life. It's like he sometimes says that we are animals in a zoo. I listened to him in this podcast saying that if you want to study elephants, you don't go studying elephants in a zoo. So it's like humans, we created this life that we are in cages, and we are completely counterintuitive on giving ourselves what we really need, and we are not aware of our basic needs anymore. So, and what you said, it has a lot to do with what you said. It has a lot to do to going back to basics, and when I say this to colleagues, it's like sometimes I see this rolling their eyes, and it's like she's talking about whatever. But they don't do it. If I knew that they do it, okay, but they don't do it.
I have a lot of friends that even I was with a few friends a few weeks
because
ago.
At a certain moment they don't need, it's like they don't need mindfulness or meditation. I mean, you need it, but it will come after. First, you just go to sleep. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, need to sleep, and need to drink less alcohol, eat less shit, do some exercise,
drink water.
Because, for example, when I travel, everybody that travels with me knows that while I am working, I get up early, I go to the gym, or I go to swim. Every single day I work out and I meditate every single day, even if I am abroad, even if I am not at home. And they get surprised with that. And even sometimes that I go out, but I come early, but I don't compromise on that. I never compromise on that. Never. I never do that. And but then on the last day, if it is to party, then it's heavy partying, But I don't like gray areas. I don't like staying up late in Instagram and then sleeping 6 hours and then missing my workout. I don't like that. I think that you need to be able to avoid gray areas. And sometimes I talk to them, sometimes much younger people than I am, and say, well, you have to work out. You cannot keep drinking every day. It's like, oh, I drink a beer every day. Oh, I drink a glass of wine. It just affects you, And there's nothing against alcohol. I love drinking, but you really need to, if you want to function, if you want to bring out the best version of yourself, I think you need to take well care of your machine. Yeah.
Yes, that's it. And this sometimes they seem so simple things, but it's the basics, and the basics nowadays they are neglected, completely neglected.
But don't you think it's also because of social media?
Yes, I think it contributes a lot. I mean, the numbing scrolling, there's this thing that I was talking about today that is called revenge bedtime hour, which is basically a new maladaptive strategy for stress. So, and dentists use it a lot. So the thing is that when you have a high stressful job during the day with a lot of stimulation, then you get home and then you have your family and then you have time for relax, and sometimes the time that you have for relax is already at 10 o'clock in the night, and you don't, it's supposed to be your bedtime because you need to go to bed early, but you don't, you still feel like you need to relax, and so you like do this numbing scrolling, or you binge watching things on Netflix, and then you get late to bed, and then you don't get enough sleep. When you wake up in the morning, you are tired because you didn't have your repair sleep, and this is called now revenge bedtime. So it's like a procrastination of your bedtime, and what you are just do is completely going numb on a screen. So what sometimes I suggest is, okay, read a book then.
Yes, read a book. I agree with that.
Try to do something else with your mind instead of just numbing yourself in front of a.
I think that you have to think at that time, okay, is this serving me in the long term? Is this
Yes.
the kind of person that I want to be?
Yes.
I mean, what
That's
if I want to
That's the
contribute with some stuff? Does it make sense that I'm wasting my days here? I mean, or not? I mean,
because happiness is a long run. Is like you said, is showing up, is consistency. Happiness is a long run. So that's
it
the
is.
question: is this serving me? Is this aligned to the life that I want to create? Is
Yeah,
this going to make me healthy in 10 years by
yeah,
eating this, by
yeah,
doing this? So that's very important.
yeah.
Okay.
That was a good one.
Okay, so getting things done. Productivity, we gave you some tools.
Yeah, I think we covered some nice
Please
stuff.
don't multitask. It's not about multitasking. It's about to know where to focus your energy and to be really productive when you are focusing your energy, and also to relax
Yeah,
between the different shifts of energy. Closing cycles, letting go, and so I think this was a conversation of sharing of what we use with ourselves. I hope it's helped anyone
yeah,
listening. But if you want to get a little deeper on this and how we apply it in dentistry, please come and meet us in our Conscience Leadership course in beautiful Sagres. The next edition is going to be in October, and not only you're going to learn a lot of practical tools and systems and protocols, and also about mindfulness, emotional intelligence, etc. But also there's a lot of networking. It's always
yeah.
fun. We already talked about this. The lunchtime is already always very rich, and all the sharing and all the learning
And the
together.
place is amazing.
Yeah, that's it's a very cool environment, and it's all and very there's a lot of good energy in the air. So if you want, just come and meet us in Sagres for the Conscious Leadership course. Just go to softbites.online. Andre, it was such a pleasure.
It's always good. I was missing you already. I knew there was something missing in my life, and today it's good to talk to you. It's always good to talk to you,
Yes, it is.
especially because we don't prepare anything over the last ones. We have
Well,
just
I have I
some
have to
ideas.
confess that this one, yes, I did not prepare anything.
It's the good thing about this, also.
Thank you so much. Thank you, and thank you for
Thank
everyone
you.
listening to us. Thank you. Bye bye, Andre.
Bye
Bye.
bye.